Okay, hello, this is the Parature Skills Training tutorial, and as usual, we're going to be discussing far related to After Effects stuff. And as you can know, in our previous episode, we are actually been treating various parts of After Effects just to make sure that we have efficient understanding before we start doing projects, for God's sake. And it's gonna take a lot of time, so we're gonna make sure we make the video as fast as we can. Okay, Parature is currently engaged in a lot of stuff, and the Skills Training is just one of the few shows that Parature is actually airing on the YouTube channel. So not to waste much of our time, so you're going to be dealing with keyframes, okay? And why keyframes is actually very important, because if you want to do anything in After Effects, you're going to be needing keyframes, okay? Facts and figures, okay? Expressions deals with that too, but notwithstanding the fact that you're going to need keyframes, okay? So, like, what are we going to be doing with keyframes today? Like, a lot of stuff we could actually do with keyframes, and I'm going to show you. So, before we go on, I don't like the background. I don't like the black background at all, and you know that actually. So I'm going to create a new solid and create a gradient ramp. Actually, you could use the 4-color gradient, but should I just tell you how to use the 4-color gradient? I think so. Let me just teach you. So this is the 4-color gradient. It's actually mostly using background intros like this, in which everything becomes dark. See what I'm talking about? Like this. And I'm gonna be reducing the intensity a little bit. If I say the screen, I don't want to blend it with the screen. I'm just gonna say none. So I can actually, you see, I'm trying to lower the intensity of the yellow stuff. So all those kind of background, actually, this is what the 4-color gradient does, almost like the gradient ramp. Gradient ramp has just 2 colors, but you can actually manipulate the colors of those ones. You see how it gives the kind of feeling or stuff like that. So I think you kind of know, you see, blending with the background. So obviously what I'm talking about. So it's like it gives you the kind of feeling that you need to see about the background. The GC makes the noise to appear, they make it to look more noisy. And look at the opacity. Yeah, you know what the opacity does, reduces and takes it off away from the image. So that's how the 4-color gradients work. But today I'm not gonna be using the 4-color gradient. Let's make use of the gradient ramp. Sorry about my English. So this is the gradient ramp. I'm gonna apply it right here, and as usual today I'm gonna be just using 2 colors. Oh my god, I don't think I can obey my graphic design rules in this place. So let's make a little bit of color. So I'm gonna just make use of this. Okay, I'm gonna make use of just, and I think I love a ramp. And if I swap color, this would actually be very cool. So I'm gonna make this at the center and kind of give it a little bit of. So I managed to make just a little bit less and kind of dull color. Maybe that's still a little bit profitable than the usual one. So now let's move. Keyframes. There are a lot of stuff you need to know about keyframes. Okay, in motion graphics, you're mostly gonna be doing with keyframes. Okay, I've thought about the easy stuff and I teach you a little bit about graph editor and stuff like that, but you really need a little bit of knowledge about keyframes. You know, the former tutorial I did, actually I didn't make use of much graph editors. Just look at graph editor. Like I didn't easy ease some stuff, I easy ease some stuff, I didn't easy ease the rest, and this kind of seems kind of crazy. Like I really didn't do much. Okay, so let's see how far I can go in this one. So we want to make something quite simple, something quite elementary for those keyframing kind of stuff. Okay, so I'm going to teach you a little bit of keyframe. So this is it. I'm going to draw a shape layer. Place and place. So as not draw a mask, make sure you're not selecting anything while drawing it. Okay, I think I'll give you that previous tip before. So I'm going to fill it with a bit of red, a touch of red, and decrease the stroke a little bit, maybe just like 5 px's, good pixels, and I'm going to put this right here. So now this is just a simple whatever. So what I'm meaning by the mistake that you might probably make is when you click on this and you just click on this and you start to draw a shape. So you see how you've actually drawn a mask instead of a shape. So let's just undo this and say pretend it never happened. So don't click on this like this. Instead, just do it like this and you draw your shape. Okay, a very good and original shape. And if you wish to draw it in accomplice with this former shape right here, you can just click on it like this and just draw on the shape beside it. So the Eclipse 1 and Eclipse 2 will be on the same shape layer altogether. So anything you do to Eclipse 1 will also happen to Eclipse 2. So I hope that's very understanding. So now let's move. So let's just pretend this never happened. Okay, and this kind of looks quite cool to me. I press a pen behind to this guy's not gonna be listening to me all this. I'm gonna put this at the center just for in case it goes rogue. So now, one thing about keyframes is the fact that keyframes have to go from one form to another, and it depends on the kind of keyframes you give, maybe in terms of position, rotation, or any kind of keyframes. And those keyframes can actually increase depending on whether you give it a 3D function or no 3D function, as you can see. So with 3D function, a lot of manipulations you could actually do, but we're not going to be relying on much of the manipulations, even in the first instance. So let's just go with the simple basics. So we're going to start, and I told you I don't like 0 seconds, okay? I like starting with 1 second. So this is the vertical position of this object, right? So now, if I just manipulate with the hex and move it here, I'm moving the object, right? I'm moving the object just like this. I hope you understand that. If I put the Y, you can see how the object moves one up and down. Okay, that's pretty confusing, even in the first place, okay? But notwithstanding the effort, let's see what we can do with this. So this is the position of this. I want to move it to right. I want it to animate and move just like this. I don't want to move like this, but I want to move just like this. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to set the position right here. Click on this keyframe right here, just like this. You're gonna left click on the keyframe like this. It has set the keyframe right here. Then you're gonna move just to 1 second like this. So since this is the x-y axis and this is the y-axis, that means the x-axis is gonna move in the horizontal way and the y-axis is gonna move in the vertical way. So when I did the x-axis, any changes you make to this figure is gonna create a new keyframe here, and it's gonna make sure that an action takes place. Look. So once I move this figure like this, I'm gonna move like see the line join, how it moves. So just like this. So I've actually created a new keyframe. So as you'll be thinking that the object is gonna disappear from this space and appear here, but that's not the real reality. It's gonna actually move. Look. You see the object is moving, and when I play it back, the object gets to move. The object gets to move. So you see what I'm talking about. This is a simple aspect of keyframe. Now you want to make it a little bit simple. This one is just like this. Okay, if you want to make it a little bit complex, I can actually make sure that it's moving straight up as it's going. So that means that as I'm going right here, okay, I could just make sure, okay, that it is bending down just like this. So that means that as it's moving, the y-axis has been moved right here, so it's gonna just bend down like this instantly. So that means if I just get like, I can be like, you see. So you see what I'm talking about. Just managed to create a very good kind of path for the stuff to follow. As you've seen it. So let me just say it's kind of pretty good. Okay, it's something that you should actually know right now. So keyframes is very good. You see how it's able to move. We need to move and animate objects. Now a good example of keyframes, which you probably don't know, gonna remove all the stuff, is that there are a lot of stuff you could do with keyframes. This is only in terms of position. Now the shortcut that I'm going to be discussing is that you press P for position, T for opacity, R for rotation, A for anchor point, P for position, T for opacity, R for rotation. So, and for scale you press S. So we're going to be using the scale one for this part, and see it's just 100%. So I want to do a pop out effect, right? So just set everything to 0. This stuff means that whatever you do here is going to happen here. So if I remove this stuff and I set this, so you see it's gonna tinted move. But if I set this to this and I put this at 100%, this thing's gonna continue to affect it all over and over again. So let's just pretend this never happened. So don't even try to move it at all, except in specific situations, which we're not gonna be doing right now. So right now they're connected together, which means if I decrease this to 0 at an evenly rate, they're gonna decrease. So put this at 0, exactly 0. Okay. And you set a keyframe by clicking on the stopwatch right here. Okay, and you go to 2 seconds. Then you can stop this and put 100%. You see, it's like a pop-out effect, and that's a very good type. Okay, so I hope you've registered that in your mind. It's a very simple stuff to do keyframes, and you can try and practice with much keyframes. Like when I'm using keyframes, there are a lot of applications and a lot of settings. Okay. So I prefer that you actually do a lot of stuff with keyframes, because keyframes are quite cool. You see? Now I can actually slow down the actions of this stuff. As you know, you can press F9 to easy ease them, or you can just right click on this keyframe and go to keyframe assistant, easy ease, as you can see. So it has been easy ease, graph editor, and if you don't see your graph like this, you click on option, edit speed graph. So now you press this down part just like this, and I can actually make this a little bit like it goes so fast, then it goes so slow. Look what I'm talking about. Like, you see, it pops out too fast, but the starting from 1 second, everything starts to go slow and slow. Now if I put this so fast just like this, so that means it's gonna pop out real slow. See, it pops out real slow. Okay, then when it gets to this place, it kind of shows itself all of a sudden, then it goes down back. So this kind of graph editor has a lot of understanding to do, but maybe we treat that in some episode. I think this is a little bit far away. I think towards the last episode of this tutorial. So let's see how far we can go with this. So this is shape layer 1, and I'm very sure you can see this. So that's one thing about graph editor and this kind of editing, but unfortunately we're not going to be using anything. So that's kind of perfect. Okay, so we're going to add a little bit of motion blur to make it look quite realistic. So this is a pop out effect. As you can see, a pop out effect using keyframes. So a lot of stuff we could do with keyframes, a lot of crazy stuff we could do with keyframes. I think I'm just gonna find the perfect example right here. So we've done a lot of stuff with, yeah, I think in the previous episodes using trim parts, we made this of keyframes. If you haven't noticed, we went to add and we added the trim parts and stuff like that. I made it of quite a very good numbers of keyframes. Okay, now there's something I might want to teach you in trim parts. I'm not gonna go back to that yet. So there are stuff you can do with keyframes. You can just combine with all this stuff and form crazy stuff all going on around. So now let's use of the CC light wipe effect and see the effect of keyframes in other kind of application, because we're already dealing with keyframes right here. So light wipe, okay, CC light wipe. You could just take the CC light wipe and kind of place it upon the layer just like this, and that's it. So we're gonna go back to 1 second before the stuff pops off. Click U to see your keyframes, U to see your keyframes, and put it on it like this. So when you press 100, look at this stuff. Okay, just put it at the middle. There's something you would notice about the CC light wipe. As you see, the stuff overlooks itself and go back again. When you put 100, it disappears. Okay, so I'll prefer you go back to this place. Okay, set the keyframe for completion by left clicking on it. As you can see, you can just press it on your keyboard. Just click on it anyhow you want. Don't right click on it. Okay, just left click on it. Okay, just like this. 0%. Then you go back to your 2% and put those to 100. So that means as this stuff is gonna appear just like this. Sorry, 1 minute. Oh, this is a mistake. So the completion from 100 to 0. Oh, I think we've kind of made a mistake. Okay, let's just tell you. Okay, one minute. So the CC light wipe effect actually works like this. If you check out from middle of this place, just like this, you see what I'm talking about. So this stuff actually wipes out stuff and wipes out stuff just like that. We've actually dealt with stuff with the CC light wipe effect. So since this stuff basically appears around here, so that means the completion is going to be 22, and by the time it gets to this place, it should probably be 0. Okay, so look at it. Why is this thing like this? It's because the scale actually makes sure that the object that you are seeing appears quite around this particular frame. So if you put it right here, you're not going to see anything about CC light wipe effect. That was the error that I called a while ago. So that's what I'm trying to explain. So I hope we've had a very basic understanding about keyframes, because keyframes are very simple to manipulate and use. Varieties of all the effects right here are going to be used using keyframes. Look at it. a lot of effects right here that we can just make use right now, but we're going to be using keyframes for most of them, and that's not even going to be the worst part, because you could actually do a lot of stuff with the keyframes right here. So yeah, CC glass wipe, block thread dissolve, a lot of transition effects right here which you're going to use keyframes for. So make sure you master the complexity of some keyframes. Okay, making use of keyframes, that means the action can be animated from one point to another. Okay, you can't set an action for position, and you can't set a keyframe for position and it's going to be start to work in the scale position. That's not possible. Okay, so that's one thing about a keyframe, and that's everything about keyframe. So you can just practice it out and share your effects with me. Share your questions and comment below. We've come to the end of today's skills training. Share a question below this video, and also give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll gladly do our best to make sure we explain the best thing we can explain to them. So that's all for this week. Have a beautiful, nice and wonderful day, and goodbye.